Blessings today, my friends, July 18th. The mystery of believing. He said, "Who are you, Lord?" Acts 9:5. Through the miracle of redemption, Saul of Tarsus was actually instantly changed from a strong-willed and forceful Pharisee into a humble and devoted bondservant of the Lord Jesus. You know, of all the stories that we read in the Bible, I think, for me anyways, that Paul's story is the one that is the most extraordinary in terms of transformation. How, like it says, from a strong-willed, forceful Pharisee who was persecuting Christians, who was killing them, he became humble and the greatest evangelist, teacher, prophet after Jesus. It's amazing. And it's an inspiration to us because we know that if God was able to do all that work in him, he can do it in us as well. He can transform anyone into his bondservant. There's nothing miraculous or mysterious about the things we can explain. We control what we're able to explain. Consequently, it is only natural to seek an explanation for everything. It is not natural to obey, yet it is not necessarily sinful to disobey. There can be no real disobedience nor any moral virtue in obedience unless a person recognizes the higher authority of the one giving the orders. Do we recognize the high authority that God has on our lives? And that even if I am distraught about a situation and it really is difficult for me to forgive somebody, what must I do? I must obey what my Father says. Forgive. Forgive that person. Let go. Release this situation to me. And when I don't know how to face this situation or give explanation, you see, especially when you're dealing with unsaved people, you cannot share with them spiritual matters. They won't understand unless they are also born again and live in the light. So I feel stuck because I don't want to start explaining to them the way the world explains. I'm not there anymore. And then you fall into this back and forth conversation and yeah, well, you did this and she did that and she said this and why did you feel this way? And all that mumbo jumbo. I'm not there anymore. I'm not interested in those kind of relationships where it only deals with the flesh, with emotions, with thinking and your opinion. And so I don't say anything anymore. And I seek God's wisdom to know how to handle it. So if this recognition does not exist, even the one giving the orders may view the other person's disobedience as freedom. If one rules another by saying, you must do this and you will do that, he breaks the human spirit, making it unfit for God. A person is simply a slave for obeying, unless behind his obedience is a recognition of a holy God. Many people begin coming to God once they stop being religious, because there's only one master of the human heart, Jesus Christ, not religion. But woe is me if after seeing him, I still will not obey. In Isaiah 6:5, it says to see also verse 1. Let's check that out. Isaiah, where are you? 6. Isaiah 6. I'm almost there. Isaiah 6:5. Oh, okay. Verse 1. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is prevalent among men. Yeah. I'm sorry, I read the wrong. I was not in the right book. Isaiah, sorry. That's why it didn't make any sense. Okay, we got it. In the year of King Uzziah's death, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, lofty and exalted, with the train of his robe filling the temple. And verse 5, when I said, woe is me, for I am ruined, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I have among people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Jesus will never insist that I obey, but if I don't, I have already begun to sign the death certificate of the Son of God in my soul. Wow. Jesus will never insist that I obey, but if I don't, I have already begun to sign the death certificate of the Son of God in my soul. When I stand face to face with Jesus and say, I will not obey, he will never insist. But when I do this, I am backing away from the recreating power of his redemption. It makes no difference to God's grace what an abomination I am, if I will only come to the light. But woe is me if I refuse the light. And then it says to look at John 3:19 to 21, where Jesus said, "This is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light and does not come to the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. But he who practices the truth comes to the light, so that his deeds may be manifested as having been wrought in God." So, my friends, it's all about obeying. And obeying will require for us to die to ourselves. If we can only remember that every time we disobey one of God's commandments, we hurt him. And we prevent him from accomplishing the miracles he wants to accomplish in us. Look at Joseph when he was hated by his brothers and sold as a slave and spent over 10 years in prison for something he never did. Did he rebel? Did he try to justify himself and say, I'm innocent, He didn't fight, he didn't rebel, he didn't try to escape. He trusted in God. He obeyed till the end, and look what God did in his life. Those are all examples for us, my friends, to follow. To kill the pride in us, the stubbornness in us, the desire to be right and prove the other one wrong. To stop getting offended because someone didn't do what you expected them to do for you. And I speak for myself, because I'm not allowed to put any demands on anyone. Just like God says, he doesn't insist. He will never force us to obey him. He will never force us to do something if we don't willingly want to do it with love. And if in your life, you have people who will only do things for you by obligation or by guilt, it's better that they don't do it. You want them to do the things for you out of love for you, because they really care about you, not because they're obliged to do it. There's nothing worse than that. When you see that someone is doing you a favor, but you can see that it bothers them. Oh, I do it because I have to do it. No, please don't do it. If this is the attitude you're going to have. If you can't do it with love because you care about me, then don't do it. And Jesus is the same way. Do you love me? If you really love me, you will obey my commandments. But if you don't love me, then... So remember that. Every time you disobey Jesus, you don't love him. You don't love him. We cannot love him at 50%, 10%, even 99.9%. We have to love him at 100% in every situation, in every moment of our life. Am I loving Jesus right now? When this person is verbally attacking me, saying very negative things, what am I going to do? Am I going to love Jesus in this moment and keep my mouth shut when my flesh wants to explode, wants to retaliate, wants to defend? And then what happens? Then we talk behind that person's back. No. We must not do that. When Jesus preached all day and at the end of the day, nobody asked him, "Where are you going to sleep, Lord? Do you need a place to stay?" Nobody invited him under their roof. What did he do? He went into nature and slept under a tree. And the next day, when he saw his apostles again, he never mentioned anything about the previous night, blaming them, accusing them, saying, "How could you leave me out like this without shelter? None of you offered to open their house to me. Ungrateful people." And no, we would do that. We would say things like that. "After everything I did for you, this is how you treat me?" But he didn't. Why? Because he only lived for the Father. He didn't live to put demands on people, to have expectations of being taken care of. Because he knew the Father would take care of him. And that's how we must live as well. When family members turn their backs on us, that let us down, are not there for us. It's difficult, I know, I'm living it. But I forgive. I forgive because I know that they have their own issues, their own problems, their own mess in their lives. They're not living with God. So I don't have the right to expect them to come and take care of me. And I know that God deliberately caused that situation to force me to only depend on him. Remember that. God bless you.